Good morning, good day, good evening, everyone who is tuned in to this very special Meet the Coach this month, and a special greeting and good morning where we are here in Minnesota to Jenn Espinosa-Goswami, who is our guest at during this dialogue today. For those who haven't tuned in before, this is Meet the Coach, and it's a monthly interview feature that we send out to all of our ICF Minnesota chapter members in our monthly newsletter, which is called The Catalyst. And some of you may be familiar with that and have had it forwarded to you, even if you're not a member. And this is also available and will be after we're done today on YouTube. Jenn is a special person to me because she is my partner on the ICF International Coaching Federation Minnesota chapter board, and the two of us co-lead communications and efforts and social media activities and a variety of tasks that we take on, and we're thrilled to have those responsibilities and to be able to serve our chapter in the capacity of communications. So with that, I'd like to introduce who it is that we are going to hear from today. And again, her name is Jenn Espinosa-Goswami, and she is a certified public speaking coach. And her company is Weightless LLC, and she is a former Toastmasters International officer. And that's a qualifier in the world of certified, or that's her certification, among others, in the public speaking arena. And she is a graduate of the Masters of Leadership program at Augsburg University in Minneapolis. Jenn helps coaches, counselors, authors, and healers leverage their expertise through paid public speaking. Her transformational health story has been featured on Authority Magazine, Thrive Global, Women's Health, Reader's Digest, Prevention, Spry Living, and she has been a featured guest and speaker on international podcasts. Jenn shares powerful speaking tips on her YouTube channel, and she can be found on the lake, any lake in Minnesota, having a recreational good time. I also would encourage you to follow Jenn on LinkedIn. She posts some wonderful and very animated content and messages, and you will get a clear sense of her point of view on several things related to public speaking and presentation, and they're just fun. So I would encourage you to follow her. Again, she serves on the ICF Minnesota board as the co-chair of communications, and she previously served on the board for women entrepreneurs here in Minnesota. So with that, and let's begin our relatively brief interview of Jenn Espinosa-Goswami. Jenn, good morning.
Hi, Mary. Thank you for that lovely intro.
Oh, it's just a pleasure. It's a pleasure being with you, always. What brought you to the world of coaching?
Yeah, well, coaching was rather a natural byproduct of being a speaker. So when I started my company, Weightless, the intent was to become a professional speaker who delivered seminars to companies and associations across the globe. And because I was sharing my personal weight loss story, I used to be 100 pounds heavier. I dropped the weight on my own with no products or supplements. And at some point in my Toastmasters journey where I had to figure out what I was talking about, I said, well, maybe I'll start talking about how I lost weight. Little did I know that that 5-minute speech had the potential to change my audience's mindset around their own health and wellness. So I had someone come up to me and say, I want to learn how to take that next step with you. And at the time, I was not a coach. So I was kind of flustered because I'm like, I have no way to support you in this journey at this time. And I don't like to leave people hanging when they're ready to take action. I want to be there for them. So I started coaching my audience members who wanted to learn more about their own health and wellness journey. I did that for several years before I became a certified coach. And I chose the Holistic Coach Training Institute as my school because they were accredited through ICF. And I believe that in the health and wellness space, at least, there is a huge disservice in terms of the idea of coaching. Coaches typically are people who hawk products and or are aligned with a specific dietary philosophy. And that was not for me because I'm a process-oriented individual. And I said, I want to participate in a training program that can apply to any industry, is not specific to a methodology, but has a process and standards and ethics around how you coach people. So that's, in a nutshell, why I decided to become certified and pivoted away from health coaching into public speaking coaching. I love speaking. I love helping coaches build their business, and it is difficult to build a business. So I combine those two passions together into the kind of coaching I do today.
How would you describe your coaching practice today, Jenn?
Well, I have a sweet spot for spiritual entrepreneurs, wellness entrepreneurs, because I came from that space. And a lot of the people I connected with in the beginning of my business were in that space. So you might know that as woo-woo. If you're not familiar with that terminology, it just means using practices that are more Eastern, non-traditional, holistic, and alternative methods for achieving your best self. And I also have a sweet spot for authors because one thing I know is authors spend sometimes months, years, even decades creating this beautiful piece of work that is the culmination of something that's really important for them in their life. And writers are often introverts, not all the time, but often. And so it's difficult to know how to sell your book as an introvert who spent years working on this beautiful piece of publishing and doesn't know how to sell your work beyond that. And public speaking is a great vehicle in which to sell books. So those are the type of people I work with, and I work individually with people. I shared that my personal weight loss story became my signature speech as I was building my company. So I help other coaches, consultants, and authors build their signature speech. So what does that mean? It means that TEDx style presentation that shows that you're an expert within your industry. It's typically a 60-minute presentation. I help you not just craft it, but also deliver it in a way that's true to who you are as a person and the type of audience you want to stand in front of. And then I help you find those ideal audiences to stand in front of, either for pay or as an opportunity to share the further work that you do and for them to take that next action step with you. I love doing the work that I do, and there is a stage for everyone.
Yeah, well said. There is a stage for everyone. Yeah, and finding your voice in a circle, in a room. I mean, you can kind of take those concentric circles right on out to a room of 500. Yeah, thank you. And you posted some things about that signature speech and commentary on that and on LinkedIn this week. So if y'all want to read a little bit more about that, Jenn's posts recently have talked about signatures, the signature speech that she's referred to.
Yes, and I do have a free download on that. So if you're like, what is this signature speech thing she keeps talking about? if you follow me on LinkedIn or check out my links, you can also see that I have a free template to get you started with your own signature speech.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I should do that. I should do that. So, what do you love about your coaching work? And can I add on to that, having your own practice as a solo entrepreneur, single shingle, as we used to say anyway, right? So tell us a little bit about what you love about your work and being in business for yourself.
Yeah, I'll talk about the being in business for myself first, because it wasn't until I joined ICF that I recognized that there are coaches who work under the umbrella of a company as internal coaches. I didn't know that existed. The first time I was introduced to coaching as an industry was when I was at my graduate program in leadership, and there was a class entirely on coaching and consulting. So first of all, it's clear that coaches and consultants are natural leaders, which is something I resonate with very much. But at the time, I was like, oh, I thought you had to be in your own business to be a coach. So in terms of my single shingle, yeah, I like that phrase. I wanted to escape corporate for reasons of my own, but also because there's time, freedom, flexibility with owning my own business. I have 2 daughters, and basically I work part-time hours. I work when my children are in school, and I am primarily responsible for everything else in terms of their care, like pick up from school, activities after school, all of those things. So I had to have a very free schedule and set my own hours. And I don't often work on weekends, and that's how I want my life to be. I don't want to be the person who, works just so I can celebrate doing nothing for 2 days over the weekend. I want to do work that I'm passionate about and that fuels my life and career, but also my family needs as well. So that's kind of why being a solo practitioner was for me. And in terms of coaching, coaching is very humbling. And I'm sure you resonate with this too, Mary. My client is placing their complete trust in me as their support system and their coach. And on the flip side of that, I'm placing my trust back into my clients and trusting that they're going to solve their own problems with the right guidance. That is a big responsibility, and I don't take that lightly. And there's nothing more sacred to me than the partnership and the coaching container I have with my clients. My super strengths are direct communication and asking powerful questions. And that's something that my clients really resonate with, because I'm very intuitive and I use my intuitive gifts during our coaching sessions. So if they say something and I get a little intuitive hit, I'm like, I don't think that's quite what we were going for there. I will dig deeper. And that's the kind of work that I feel supports my clients where they are. Because at the end of the day, when you're standing up in front of a crowd of people and saying, yes, I'm an expert in this field, you have to be confident. And at the end of the day, my clients need that confidence to know that they are a boss, they can speak like a boss, and they can own their expertise.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you. That's inspiring to me. I might, copy and paste some of that if I ever am asked, what do I love about coaching? If I do, I'll give you credit for your quotables there.
Hey, you can quote me anytime you want, Mary.
Love the piece about humility and trust. Yeah.
It's very important to me.
Yeah. And those are practices unto themselves, right? The becoming humble and the conveying humility. That's a daily practice, I think, right? And instilling trust, being trustworthy, that's its own dynamic thing for us to attend to, personally and interpersonally, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to keep showing up, not just for the client, but for yourself, so you can create that proper environment for trust.
Yeah, good. So tell us about some coaching tools, books, podcasts, authors, etc., that help you stay informed in your field, and what may be some that you recommend to others, including those who are tuning in.
So the only thing I digest faster than my favorite foods are books. I am a lifelong reader. I'm a lifelong learner. I read upwards of 5 to 6 books every month. Most of them are nonfiction, but I do read the occasional chick lit. And because I came from the health space, a lot of the books that I read were books you might be familiar with, like Atomic Habits from James Clear or Tiny Habits from BJ Fogg, and I've conducted presentations on these topics as well. But in terms of business growth and or coaching specifically, 2 of my favorites are coactive coaching. Again, this is from what I learned at my graduate program. I love the coactive coaching model. And it took me quite a few years to realize there's actually a school that teaches coactive coaching and certifies you on that. I wasn't aware of that because, again, I started in health and their certifications are a little bit different than your typical certification process. I love that book. And we'll link to it below the video because I think everyone needs to know about coactive coaching if you don't already. And my other favorite one is an author called Michael Bungay-Stanier. He wrote a couple of different books on coaching. One is called The Coaching Habit, and the other one is called The Advice Trap. And so a lot of people think that coaching is like you tell people what to do, but that's not the truth. In fact, as coaches, we have to pull back and recognize we're not here to give advice. We're not mentoring our clients. We are guiding them and facilitating their own growth, which means we have to ask permission if we're going to say, hey, I have a suggestion. Would you like to learn what it is? We don't just tell people what to do. So I think the advice trap was really informative for my coaching work. And then because I also do public speaking and help others with speaking, one of the people I follow, and I've been to his event called Heroic Public Speaking Live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He and his wife, Michael and Amy Port, they lead this effort and they have a graduate program and curriculum and everything. But Michael Port co-wrote a book called The Referable Speaker, and I think it came out in 2022, actually. It's a very easy read. It's very good. And it solidifies the need for consistency as a speaker because I get it. We're passionate. We can speak on multiple things as coaches and as experts, but it's really your ability to show up and consistently deliver the same message that gets you those standing invitations to other speaking opportunities. So highly recommend his book. And if you haven't seen it yet, in terms of podcasts, this is a fun one, Mary, because I'm on podcasts all the time. I love to be a guest on podcasts. I don't listen to podcasts.
Oh.
And the reason for that is I don't retain information by listening. I'm a visual person. I read things and I have to apply things. If I'm listening to it, I won't retain it. So I don't listen to that many podcasts, but I will say I'm a very big fan of Ramit Sethi. He has a podcast called I Will Teach You to Be Rich, and it's fabulous. He works with couples on their money mindset and different challenges they have around how they spend their money, even as people who have a good amount of money, maybe more than the average person. So I highly recommend it.
Wow. That was a wonderful array of options for all of us. I think, thank you for putting some options out there, that each one of them has appeal for different reasons as I hear it. And thank you for making a distinction, relative to your own learning and preferences, right? I'm auditory and I am, I like to read to learn. I'm not the voracious reader you are, like 5 books a month. Wow.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And friends, I had no idea. I've known, Jenn now for, about 9 months, 10 months, which has been fabulous, but we've never had this conversation and, we've never really resourced one another, have we? No, that would be a fun activity, even as the ICF Minnesota board sometime. So
absolutely. I agree.
Thank you. So how about ICF Minnesota and your experience with us? You've been affiliated for about a year, and help us understand what the value has been to you as a coach. And certainly you could talk about being a board member, but like what would you especially serve up about the value of affiliating with ICF Minnesota as a coach?
Yeah. So ICF Minnesota is a newer organization to me. Previously, because I was serving health coaching clients individually, I was seeking them out within the companies that I was presenting to. So when I pivoted to public speaking coaching, I'm like, oh, I don't have enough coaches in my network to even introduce these ideas to. So I knew I had to, plug into different coaching communities. And of course, ICF Minnesota was a natural fit for me in terms of connecting with coaches. Um, I know behind the scenes because I serve on the board. And one of the things that's really important to me as an entrepreneur, you don't receive the support of a team because you're working by yourself. I don't have any employees under me. I'm doing this thing on my own. I love it. But sometimes you get a little bit lonely and you're like, I just want to collaborate with other people. And I have referral partnerships, but they're different than they are from serving on a board. So, I'm a little skewed. I needed that the opportunity to plug into a team and to lead. So that's why I joined the board of ICF Minnesota. I will say what really surprises me about the membership opportunities, you can get listed as a coach on the directory. And I know the power of SEO, having been in online business for quite a while. And if you have your own website, it's great, but it takes time to build that search engine optimization.
Mm-hmm.
So being listed as on a directory of other coaches will benefit you 100%. And I love the different virtual webinars that we host through ICF Minnesota. Being a solopreneur, I typically don't attend a lot of evening events, and our webinars tend to be during the middle of the day, which works out well for my schedule. So we've had some really great experts, even from, I believe we had a speaker from South Africa at one point because we were doing our webinars virtually. So I think that's a huge benefit as well. And I will say, because I've been hosting these Meet the Coach interviews as part of the communications committee here, I learned about coaching processes and methodologies that are completely unknown to me. Like positive intelligence keeps coming up. And I had never heard of that before. And it's a relatively newer methodology. So I thought it was pretty well connected and well known within the different tools that are available to us coaches. I still keep learning more through ICF Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Jenn. I can only echo that. And friends, if you haven't tuned in to Meet the Coaches before, cherry pick some other ones that are on our YouTube channel and tune into some other really fine coaches in our community. And it's just well worth the 20 minutes or so of these interviews to learn more. And by all means, join us too. We would love to have your voice. So, Jenn, have I forgotten anything? Anything else that you were hoping to convey to your audience?
Yeah, so I would really encourage folks who want to connect with me to find me. I usually hang out on LinkedIn, which Mary was gracious enough to share that I share a lot of content on LinkedIn. The other place I hang out is Instagram. So you'll see my links below this video here. Yes, I do those weird reels on Instagram, even though I'm a middle-aged woman with 2 grown-up kids who are embarrassed by these things that I do. But it's testament to the power of using video within your business if you aren't already doing it. And you can have a bit of fun in your business as well. I also want to share that I have 2 free ways you can work with me if you're curious about what public speaking could look like within your own business. I have 2 free opportunities for you. I already mentioned the signature speech template, which is a free download and can get you started on what would you speak about. That is a difficult question to answer if you've never tried to muddle over that before. And I can help you really visualize what your ideal audience would look like. I wanted to be on the big stage. I still want to be on the big stage, and stay tuned, I will be on the big stage. But not everyone wants that. And I respect and honor where my clients are in their journey. Smaller stages can be just as powerful for your business. And then the other free way to connect with me and sample a taste of my coaching. I don't encourage people to work with someone unless they can try it out first. So I have free mini coaching sessions. And these sessions are 30 minutes where you and I get together via Zoom. And we talk about your expert speaker biography. Now, it's not the same as your About Me page on your website or your social media About Me profile listing. Your expert speaker biography establishes you as an expert in your space and still puts that little unique value proposition to why you speak on your particular topic. So if you haven't tried that out yet or haven't explored what that could look like for you, I invite you to consider connecting.
And Jenn, thank you. Thank you for all of that. I'm wondering, as we've heard your puppy in the background.
She's so loud. I'm sorry.
I love her. I love her, and I'm familiar with her. Do you ever, I said to somebody yesterday, as you know, I coach in the career management space, and this individual, their most pressing need is around developing interviewing skills. So I encouraged her to practice her responses with her dog. Do you ever deliver your speeches, or even I know you prepared some responses today. It's been flowing as if you haven't, typed a word. But do you practice with your dog?
Oh my gosh, my dog doesn't listen to me half of the time, so I don't know how effective that will be. But to be fair, one of the ways you get better at speaking and preparing to put yourself out there more visibly is practice. And I do a variety of different ways to practice, by showing up on podcasts, by doing interviews like this. And I just know my stuff inside and out because I've been in the business long enough to know what I'm talking about. I also do some research, and this is something I encourage a lot of people to do, is understand who you're speaking to. So no matter what spot you're showing up for, do a little reconnaissance and ask questions, which as coaches is not hard for us to do. But being really intentional about what you are showing up to deliver, and understanding that if you feel uncomfortable or you're a little nervous, there are specific ways you can ground your energy and show up as the way you want to show up. And yes, there are camera tricks for there, but that's a topic for another day. I have camera tricks, endless camera tricks I could share with you, as well as virtual interview techniques and things like that through the coaching work I do.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad I asked the question, because now you've sort of whet my appetite and hooked me further. And thank you. Your earlier response, it fell on my ears as wow. Start small. You can start small, and this can be a manageable journey. And thank you for letting us know that you offer that, right? And to for folks to get a sense of your practice in a small, concrete, manageable way. So thank you for that. Well, this was very fun for me. I learned a lot. I've got little pink cheeks here thinking I'm a little embarrassed that I didn't know some of these things about my board colleague, Jenn Espinosa-Goswami. So thank you for being with us. And friends, if you would like to be a coach that we get to meet and interview in this fashion, we would be happy to hear from you. We would be glad to feature you in an upcoming newsletter, and of course on YouTube, like we're going to be seeing Jenn on that site in in no time at all once we get all this uploaded. But you may reach out to us, Jenn and I, at communications at ICF Minnesota, and that's the whole big name of the state, icfminnesota.org. Communications at icfminnesota.org, and you can find Jenn and me at that address. But if you are interested in joining ICF Minnesota, quite simply, you could send an email to membership@ICF Minnesota, or go out to our website, and you'll find ample resources there and links. And please come to an upcoming event. I think we've got the hospitality thing down pat as a board and as an organization. So we'd love to meet you and see you there. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day, evening, and fall as many of us head back to school with children. But if that's not the case for you, enjoy the lovely season on tap. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.